as it can be seen here. The second one is application. The third one is analysis. The fourth one is evaluation and decision making. Now, knowledge with understanding, we just want you to be able to remember something. Knowledge with understanding is something that anybody out there should be able to do. If you can remember the names of people, if you can remember the names of items, the names of the fixed assets, the names of the limited companies, the names of the accounting principles, just to list them. That's why when it comes here, it says, questions assessing this objective will begin with the words define. If you can just remember a definition, list, state, outline, explain. And this explain is usually just that small explain the term bad debts. It's also just the same as define. Just as long as you can remember. And those questions are now what we call assessment objective A. In your exam, it's going to be 40 marks in total. Now, application for other subjects, it's where you need to explain in detail. For example, if you say there are 4 towns in Namibia, you need to explain what is Windhoek, what is in Windhoek, and so on. But I'll give you the clear example. But then in our context of accounting, when we say application, this is now where the practical works comes in. All those things that you have to draw books, calculate, make accounts, all those things, we call them application. Now today, we are going to do analysis and decision making. We are going to do now the analysis and decision making. What is the difference between the analysis? What is the difference between the analysis and decision making? Now, with analysis, you are just going to analyze something. Analyze something is where you have a situation. It's look at it like when you have a debate with a friend. When you have a debate with a friend, you are analyzing. Explaining is when you are just telling a friend there is this show that is coming up. It's in Windhoek. These artists are coming. It's starting on which date? It's starting at what time? People are expected to wear like that. You are just explaining. That one is like application. You are just explaining. But when you come to analysis in accounting, it's whereby you are now telling your friend, this show is nice because it's going to be full. We have very good artists, like this artist and this artist, they are coming to perform. There will also be some things that will be sold, so you are not going to get to get hungry and all those things. You analyze all those things, and then you say, but it's at night, so it's risky. It's going to happen at the Independence Stadium, so you might have trouble with getting your taxi from there home. Many of the people who are churches that are looking for cell phones might also be there. You can see you are analyzing about this situation. And it's also expensive because people have to pay 50 at the gate, and it's first come, first serve. You might not get space. So you are analyzing that situation. You are discussing, you are examining, you are assessing that situation. That is what we call assessment objective C. So when you bring it to accounting, you look at it from that perspective. This is good because it's this and this and this, but it's also this and this and this. Now, when we come to evaluation and decision making in accounting, this is now when you have to decide for your friend. After what you have said now, must your friend go or must your friend not go? This is now where you are now going to say, I suggest you don't go. I am advising you that you don't go. If I have to comment on that, I think it's not a good idea that you go. It's where you are making the final decision. Before we move on, do we understand now what analysis and evaluation and decision making is? Do we understand, or do we have a question? Can you hear me? Remember, I have problem with my speakers. If you don't say something, I'll just assume something is not right.
There,
Yes.
I just need clarity. For example, if you now analyze the situation to your friend,
Yes.
so this evaluation will come from the analysis that you have done.
Yes, the evaluation will come from the analysis, because here you are now going to evaluate, or after what you just said now, let me make a decision. Then you now decide, I'm not going.
Okay, sir.
All right. Now let's go to an everyday example. The one that I gave, it's also an everyday example, because I want to take you from that, then I take you to the ones that you are now going to find. Okay. This is now, for example, you have towns. If your question is just asking, list 5 towns in Namibia, a person will say we have Windhoek, we have Swakopmund, Oshakati, Rundu, Keetmans. Here, the person is just listing. It has nothing to do with a decision. It has nothing to do with an analysis. They are just remembering. And then the discussion can continue. Windhoek is where you find the capital city. You are talking about the features of that town. It's where you will find the capital city. Swakopmund is a tourist destination city. Oshakati is densely populated. It's in the north. Rundu is close to Angola. It's where most of the trades are taking place. You are just explaining. You are not discouraging anything. You are just explaining. This is what you are just building on what you know about that town. But now when we come to analysis, it's now where you will say, Windhoek, there are so many jobs, but the houses, the rent there is expensive. There's also a lot of traffic. Even when you are going to school, you will stay long in the queues. Swakopmund is very peaceful. You will get a lot of jobs in those tourist destination place. But then it's very cold. You are now explaining all those things. And then when you come here, then you are now saying evaluation. You are now going to decide which town is best to live in, and then you justify. I would choose Windhoek because it has more jobs and better services. Although the cost of living is high, the opportunities outweigh the disadvantage. Swakop will be my second choice for the lifestyle and so on. So you can see you are now giving a judgment, a decision, a recommendation. That is now from our everyday example. Now, let me now take it from something that relates to accounting. Limited companies. List 3 features of a limited company. This one is going to be your assessment objective A. Anybody should be able to list. It's a limited liability, separate legal entity. Issues can be sold to the public. Then you are now going to explain, what do you mean by limited company? This one is also part of the, okay, but in our context, this is also still here, but I needed to bring it here so that you can explain, you can see what happens in each stage. But because remember, our application for accounting is only calculations, only calculation. The things that you have to explain are part of assessment objective A. So this is now where you are building up on what you already know. Now, this is the one that we are doing today. Analyze the advantage and disadvantage of running a limited company as compared to a sole trader. Now, this is a basic question, but you know what our setters do. Let me now tell you a secret and a trick. They remove this word, advantage and disadvantage. And then they'll ask a question that says, analyze whether they should uh, they should they should change their business ownership from a sole trader to a partnership. You are not making a decision, you are just analyzing. Now, because they have removed this advantage and disadvantage from the question, it becomes so difficult to understand what are they really talking about. But actually, you just need to look at the advantage of one, disadvantages, advantage of the other, and so on. I'll also come show you what you must do, or maybe I can just show you now. Later. Then you put the advantage. Now in the exam, don't write the word advantage. When you just write these things, we can just see you are talking about the advantage. You don't have to put the word advantage, disadvantage, or benefits, and so on. So here you are just going to break down what are the advantages of something, what are the disadvantages of something. Now, when you come to evaluation and decision making, advise whether a sole trader who wants to expand should convert to limited company. Advise whether they should convert. The other one was just analyze. This one you must advise. That means at the end you must advise. I advise. Perfect. Now we go to the real things. If there is no question, this is what you are going to find in the exam. I did these ones from all the past question papers. I can't remember from when, but these are the questions that you find in the past question papers. I also have solutions for them, but for now I thought let me do them without solutions so that you can understand where the things are coming from. First one, the business needs 2 million to expand. It is considering two options. Option one is whether to raise a mortgage loan secured on the members' private homes. That means they go to the bank and then they borrow a loan secured on the members' private. And then you tell the bank, if we can't pay, you can come and take our houses. Option two is to convert to a private limited company. So we assume this company is not a private limited company. It's maybe a sole trader or a partnership. Then it says suggest one advantage and one disadvantage of each option. This is just a basic question so that you can understand. Now, in this case, you are going to suggest that if you raise with a mortgage, these are the implications. This is the advantage. But if you don't do it with mortgage, this is the implication. Now, this question is from the previous syllabus. This is actually supposed to be analyzed, one advantage and one disadvantage of each option. And then you can now say, if you raise it with a mortgage, the advantage is you don't need external investors. Because what are the disadvantages of an external investor? The moment someone comes into your business and then they invest, you also need to share control and ownership with them. Meaning you cannot just make decisions on your own anymore because they invested money, they also need to make decisions. You also need to share their profits. So the good thing is there are no external investors. The mortgage can be repaid after a long period of time, after 10 years, even sometimes after 25 years. A mortgage is easy to get because you just go sit in a bank, maybe within a week you already get your money. But with a private company, if you have to issue shares, it means it will take a long process. You give the public a notice that you want to issue shares and so on. So those are the advantage. But what are the disadvantage? You need to pay interest. What are the disadvantage? You could lose your house. if you don't pay. So here you just, this one was a fairly easy C and D question because you just give an advantage of one and a disadvantage of one. And then again with a private company, one advantage, one disadvantage. Then we come to the next one. Members complained that the club, which is a non-profit making organization, made a large surplus for the year. So members are saying we made a lot of money last year. Can you please decrease our membership fee? Suggest one reason why that membership fee cannot be entertained. Now, in this case, this question is coming from, there were information that were given to you. Now, when you are suggesting, remember what I said when I answered the question, you suggest based on the information. And it's not always that those information you have to check, okay, membership fee, advantages of decreasing, disadvantages of decreasing. Don't look at it from that point. From accounting is the information that I have. What can I read from the information? Now, the information that you have is you are telling these members, we did not make a surplus for the year because we are capable of. That surplus probably came because maybe we received a donation. That surplus came maybe because we had less expenses. You are now suggesting, because where does it come from? It comes from this word surplus. What are you going to do here? What brings about surplus? You must now analyze, because the main concern that why they need their thing to be decreased is not membership fee. It has nothing to do with membership fee. It has to do with they saw the surplus. So you go to the information and what are you going to analyze? You are going to analyze this surplus. Now, what are you analyzing about that surplus? Where does surplus come from? It comes from our income. It also comes from our expenses. Then you are now going to analyze these two things. When I look at the figures of income and expenses, do they really warrant an increase? Then you look at the income. If you have an account drawing the donation there, then you can't decrease your membership fee, because what if next year there's no donation? But if most of that surplus came from subscription, then you can see, oh, what you are saying, I really agree, because we made too much surplus because your subscription is too high, so let us decrease it. Or if you come here and you notice that there's an expenses, for example, rent, that is too high, or that is too low, rent will always be there. So even if you decrease your membership, it's not going to affect you. But if we have an expense that is likely to keep rising every year, then in that case, you are not going to increase it. So I hope you have seen how you are supposed to from what point you are supposed to get it. You look at the information that you are given. Okay, this one, it's a little bit difficult to comment on because they said comment on your results on C. And we don't have the question C here. So this one, we have a lot of them. I think it's about 10 pages. So you don't have to worry. Suggest 3 ways which break-even could be decreased. This one is just straight from the book. The only thing, this is actually a level A question. The only thing that made it D is because of the word suggest. Break-even point could be decreased, increase the selling price, decrease the cost price. They are actually even in the book, I think. Not in the book, but in the notes. It's a level A question, but just because there's this word suggest, it's made a D, but it's really not a D. It's, yeah, so I'm not even going to look at that one. Do we have any question up to now? So far.
No, sir, we're all good.
All right, perfect. Now we go to the next one. The next one says, compare the information that you have calculated of Oryx Ltd with the ratios of Kudu. Like I said, this one also, it's a little bit inconclusive, but okay, luckily the information for Oryx are here. So it's a good thing. Advise Mr. Namwandi which company he should invest in. Can you see that is advice? Advice is the final decision that you are making, but that decision is being based on what you have at sea. And I told you what you have at sea, it's not always advantage and disadvantage. It's the implications. Level C, you look at implication. If I do this, what will happen? What is the effect? Maybe I must write it here quickly. Level C questions, you look at advantages and disadvantages. Level C questions, you look at implications. If I do this, what will happen? Like the previous question that we were looking at. If I reduce subscription, I mean, what will happen? It might mean that our surplus will come low because that amount came from donation. Implication. Number 3, what is the impact if I do that? Number 4, what is the effect if I do that? It's like you are advising someone to go to the show. You are saying, what are the implications if you go to the show? The implications that you already discussed at sea are you might not get a taxi. The show is expensive. You might lose your phone. Those are the implications. What are the impacts of say, increasing your, maybe you are getting an allowance from your parents. What is the impact if your parents decide to reduce your allowance from $100 per month to $50? What is the impact? I think you can already start looking for the answers, and you can see what you are supposed to put at C. Now the impact, you don't only look at what is bad, you also look at what is good. You say, if my parents reduce my allowance, they will have more money to spend on the household activities. If they reduce my allowance, I will not have enough money for my bread at school. Maybe you always have to buy something at school. The impact, the implication, those are the things that you are analyzing. But now when you come to the advice, you now look at what you have, those impacts, and then you say, because of this, I advise you don't go to the show. Because of these implications, I advise you don't reduce my allowance. You might just know that these impacts and implications and effects, don't only look at it as it's negative, it's the positive impacts of something and also the negative impacts of something, because you need to give an advice that is informed by an analysis. Now, let us go back here. Advice in which company he should invest in. You must now look at the impact of investing in Kudu, and you look at the impact of investing in Oryx. Then you now look at this. Kudu has 10%. I did not finish reading the whole thing, but I hope you will be able to get it. Dividend per ordinary share. Dividend per ordinary share for Oryx. What is the impact of investing in Kudu when you are only looking at ordinary level share? Can someone tell me? What is the impact? What is the implication? You are not looking at the rest of the things. You are only looking at dividend per share. Someone? Okay.
Sir, please repeat the question.
Okay. The question is, because here they says, we check the question, compare the information that you have calculated. The information that were calculated, I already listed them here. Then now we are saying with the ratios of LTD. So these ones were calculated, the one for Olvix, and these ones were given. Advise Mr. Namwandi which company he should invest in. Your advice should be based on the information given and ratio calculated. Take consideration of the nominal value and so, okay, these ones we don't need. Now, because I want to make sure that when you are going to answer, you don't leave out some information. What is the impact of investing in Kudu when we are only looking at dividend per share? What is the impact? What is the implication? And when I tell you impact, implication, effects, advantage, and disadvantage is the same thing. It just depends in which context it's fitting. So if we are only looking at dividend per share, what is the impact of investing in Kudu? Or implication, or effect, or advantage, or disadvantage? Those are the things that you need to look at. If you don't answer, it's going to take us very long, and then we might not cover everything that we need to cover. One of you need to be bold and answer. If it's not correct, I'll correct you. But if you don't attempt anything, I will not know your level of understanding on whether I need to explain further or you are okay. That's why one of you need to say something. Or if you don't understand, at least you have to indicate so that I know I need to explain. Yes. Thank you.
Master Namwandi will earn 2 more cents when he invests in Kudu compared to when he invests in Oryx.
Perfect. That is the answer that the examiner wants. The impact is Mr. Namwandi will earn 2 more cents. It's like an advantage. What is the advantage of doing that? Earnings per share, you are still also going to do the same thing. As long as you know what is earnings per share. It's this one and this one. Which one is better? Inventory turnover, you're still just going to say the same thing. You can even switch them up that when you come to quick ratio, you can even say Kudu is not able to cover their short-term debts. Because remember, you are not listing what is quick ratio. You are not explaining what is quick ratio. You are talking about what are the advantages of doing one instead of the other? What are the implications of deciding I'm going to Kudu? If you decide you are going to Kudu, what is the implication when you look at this? They are not able to cover their short-term debts. And now, when you now look at those things, you are now going to come up with a conclusion. In most cases, in that case, the conclusion is always, how must I say? Because I don't want to mislead you. The conclusion is sometimes 2 ways, but there are some questions where it's only one way. In this case, you really have now to check. Is it 2 ways or is it 1 way? If you check, Oryx is better. Oryx is better. Oryx is better. Oryx is better. If you check, okay, here they are not better. But at earnings per share, they are not better. They are better here. They are better here. It's only these two where they are not better. Which one are you going to invest in? You must invest in Oryx. But if there was a tie, then the marks can be awarded to whether you say Kudu or Oryx, as long as you have provided the reasons why you are saying that's the one. Let's go to the next one. David is concerned that the gross profit has decreased from last year. Discuss one possible reason for this based on the information given, and you provide possibles. Okay, this one is also an easy one. It's like the one that we did up for subscription. You will have information on top here, maybe an income statement. And from that income statement, you analyze what caused this gross profit to come down. So you look at the sales. What are the things that affect gross profit? Your sales, your cost of sales, your purchases, and all those things. So this one we will move on from. This one, David heard from a bookkeeper that he should use perpetual stock method instead of periodic stock system. Should be inventory, just that the question comes from the previous syllabus. Explain the difference. This explaining the difference is not the specific objective that we are dealing with. The question could have just started from here and say, advice on which method he should use. Can someone explain to me, without giving the answers, how you are going to approach this? You don't have to give me the answers for what the question is asking. I just need you to know, or just need you to tell me what are the approaches. Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
you are going to look at implications of both, advantages and disadvantages of both.
Yes.
And advise from the two, you advise which one is the best and then give a reason.
Okay. Now, in this case, can you only advise one? Is there likely to be only one correct answer, or can any of the answer be correct?
Maybe any of the answer can be correct. It depends how you're going to defend it.
Okay, very good. So any of the answers are going to be correct. Now, there's now something that I need to show you. If you are leaning towards the perpetual stock system, you are not going to give the advantages of perpetual, disadvantages of perpetual. Let me do this. You have advantages. The first one is, let's say, perpetual. You have advantages, then you have disadvantages. Then you have periodic, which with advantages and disadvantages. Now, I don't know how it happens with business studies and other subjects, but in accounting, you need to be specific on what you want. If you are advising someone whether they need to stay in Swakopmund or in Windhoek, you need to say, these are the advantages of staying in Swakopmund. These are the disadvantages of staying in Windhoek. You can't give the person all the things. You'll confuse them. You need to be specific. Don't do this because of this. Rather do this because of this. Person wants to go to the show. Your friend wants to go to the show. You will tell the person, don't go to the show because you might struggle with the taxi. Don't go to the show because you might lose your phone. Don't go to the show because it's expensive. You are only looking at the disadvantages of the show. And then you say, rather stay home than you can study. Rather stay home than you can help your parents with the cooking. Rather stay home than you can do whatsoever. You can see you are looking at the advantages of one and you are looking at the disadvantages of the other one. And in that case, you are really giving a proper advice. Because the moment you start saying, don't go to the show because it's expensive, it's too far, you lose your phone and so on, but the show is very cheap, but this artist is coming, there's going to be a nice vibe, you are confusing a person. So in accounting, we are very specific by saying you choose one, but you tie the advantages of what you chose and you tie the disadvantages of what you don't want. So in this case, if you decide to go with perpetual, you are going to take the advantages of perpetual and the disadvantages of perpetual. So that's how we do it. I hope it's clear. Can I move on? We have 12 minutes.
The last part. Sorry.
Yes.
Are you saying when you are going to approach this question, you are only, for example, you want periodic.
Yes.
So you are only going to give advantages of periodic and disadvantages of perpetual.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, sir.
But that is now when you are supposed to give an advice. If you are analyzing, you do both. Because remember, analyzing is level C.
Yeah.
You are doing both if you are analyzing. Because remember, with analyzing is what is the implication, what is the impact, and the impact or implication or the effect, you don't only look at one thing, you must also look at the other. That one you are analyzing. But when you come to advice, you need to be specific on what you are talking about by only looking at one direction, because now you need to advise.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. It's clear now.
Okay. We move to the next one. Rapidi Limited wants to buy a new machinery, which will cost 100,000. Use the results of the cash flow statement to advise Lapidi on the feasibility of this decision. So you are now saying, first you need to make up your mind. Must they buy or must they not buy? And I say when it's advice, you need to have one decision. If they buy, what are the advantages of buying? What are the disadvantages of not buying? If they buy, what are the disadvantages of buying? Okay, now I'm now not contradicting, but I'm now confusing myself. But the good thing is I already explained previously what you are supposed to do. You are now going to use your cash flow and check. Because remember, with accounting, you don't just run to advantage, disadvantage. You use the results. In this case, the results, use the results. Does this company has money? That's what you must check. Does this company has enough equipment? That's what you must check. If you can see that the company's bank balance is 120, that question is going to require only one answer: don't buy. If you go to the one of buy, it's going to be wrong, because the company's cash flow shows that they only have 120, and if you spend 100,000 on buying, the company will be depleted, the cash will be depleted. So that's why you must always check, what must I look for in these things? When you are buying something, the two things that are involved is bank and machinery, equipment. Do they already have equipment? Those are the things that you must look at. Look at the transaction. What are the things that are involved in this decision? Now we go to the next one. Oshakati General Dealer wants to change the method of depreciation for vehicles in order to increase the profit for the year. Discuss if this can be allowed. What is the one thing that we are looking at here? We are looking at method of depreciation. Now, a method of depreciation can be changed. Method of depreciation can be changed practically. But according to our syllabus, we use consistency method that says use the same method. If you say the depreciation needs to be changed, even though practically you might be correct, according to the syllabus, it should not be changed. That means this is one of the question. I think the word here is not the correct one. This one is supposed to be advice if this is it suggest comment. It's supposed to be comment if this can be allowed. This one you only have one comment, one answer. It doesn't have two things because there's only one correct answer. So that's now where you are saying according to the consistency method, it should not be changed. If you change it, it will bring distortion in comparing. You are not able to compare between the profits between different years anymore. So the one of you can change it, leave it out. So you must also check whether according to what we have learned, if it's something that is correct. Next one, we are just at page 4. We have page 10, but it doesn't matter even if we don't finish. The idea is just for you to grasp the concept. A partnership can be defined as a business in which two or more people work together as owners with a view to make a profit. Discuss 4 advantages that partnership have over a sole trader. Okay, this one is very easy because it points to what you must do. It didn't confuse you by saying analyze the partnership as a form of business ownership as compared to sole trader. It's specific that say advantages of a partnership. The only thing is just over a sole trader. Whatever you are going to give, it needs to be in relation to a sole trader. You cannot say, for example, you mustn't give something that is an advantage for a sole trader and also for a partnership. You cannot say there is no limited liability. That one cannot be a correct advantage because it's not an advantage of a sole trader. There's no limited liability here. There's also no limited liability there. It should be something like with a partnership, there is more capital because with partnership, it's only one